I'm ready for questions. Yes, sir.
I actually got a couple of statements, kind of two and a half for you. You said that you're one vote and one of 38. Well, you still can influence a lot of people with what you think, how you think about it, and et cetera. I think people can hear me. No? No? Really? Okay. All right. But again, being one vote, you still have the opportunity to influence a lot of senators and individuals that you speak to on a daily basis. And I think you are. And I think that one vote can be more powerful than simply one vote. The other thing I wanted to mention is we talk about federal funds. Well, I'm sure almost everybody knows here, that's still our money. We send it to the federal folks from our state, from our taxes. They turn around and allow us to use some of it back. That's a whole process that needs to change as well. We should give the feds what they need, rather than more than what they need so they can grant some back to us. And these spending things that you talked about, that's been going on for almost forever. It happens in the military all the time. I was in the Air Force for 11 years. At the end of the year, you'll see many companies, particularly military, government organizations, at the end of the year, they're off buying everything they can possibly buy. That's because they saved all the money they could to be diligent at the beginning of the year. If you don't spend that money, they take it away from you next year. Another process that needs to be changed. Again, it's not something you can necessarily fix at the state level, but all the states need to start thinking about this. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Would you state your name?
My name is Bill Spencer. I came to your group here last fall when you was up on M46 one night. And I come in your group as an independent. I come here tonight and I see all the stuff you scroll on your screen there. I guess I'm thinking that most of you people is this part of the Republican Party, or is this a Tea Party that started out with a big tent that was going to accept everybody? That's not Mike Green's question. I got one for him. That was for you people. To Mike Green, I was glad to hear you say something about not taxing these pensions. I guess my question is, you and now at this point, how many of your colleagues feel like you do that's in the Republican Party?
Well, I can't tell you all of them because I can't answer for them, but I believe there's enough within our caucus not pass it. And there's already some discussions with the governor and the majority leader about what we can do to see. The big question is, be careful how I proceed with this, is how much money do we give, how many breaks do we give to businesses so we can be competitive with other states so they can start bringing jobs back to Michigan. And that has been a problem for a long time. There is a lot of differences of the way the rules in Michigan are compared with some of the others. And I'm not talking about collective bargaining, which some of you may think that's what it is, but it's not. It's the high taxes on the businesses. It's the personal property taxes on businesses, and there's some local people here in local communities, your ears are perking up. Because there's some proposals to eliminate personal property taxes on businesses. And there's just a number of high costs related to businesses. So the key is, how much breaks do you give the businesses and still make it fair with those that are on the other end? Because they're going to point out to you, the other side that doesn't agree with giving the business taxes, that we're balancing our books on the backs of the poor. And you may think that, but the fact is the poor are poor in this state because they don't have any jobs.
Yep.
And so it's a balance of not taking so much away from the poor and giving them a job, something they can do so they can be profitable, so they can earn their own money, which most of the people do that are on unemployment, and then balance that with tax breaks that we give to businesses so that they would want to either expand here or bring other businesses into Michigan so we can get back to a vibrant economy like we've had in the past. It's not easy, but it's something that's going to happen.
See, part of my concern is, it seems like now we are, as people, we're pitting people against people. We're fighting amongst ourselves. And just like, you know, going after these public workers and stuff. But we tear down the middle class, you ain't gonna have a tax base. That's where this is headed. That's what Wisconsin did. It went to Ohio with Casey. It's come back to Daniels in Indiana. It's coming back to Snyder in Michigan, all right? Now, when all playing fields are equal with all states, you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna whipsaw these states, one against the other for a penny-ante job. What are you gonna give me? How many tax abatements? Are you gonna put in my roads? Are you gonna do my sewers and water? That's what you're gonna face. It's a whipsawing tactic, and really the bottom line is this. You know, I voted for you, Kim Damrow, and Cubic, because I come to your meeting last October as an independent person. But I, sitting here tonight seeing this, I think this group here is strictly Republican, that's what I see. And so
I
you don't have a
disagree
big
with
enough tent for other ideas.
Yeah, I just,
But when we're talking about trying to bring jobs to Michigan, you know what's happened to not only Michigan, our country, it's outsourced all of this work over the last 20, 25 years. Governor Snyder, when he run Gateway, sent work to China. Now we're coming back here, what kind of jobs do we expect to get back when we shipped all our industrial base out of this country, and now we are attacking each other, throwing a tax on each other, and trying to tax our way out of this by putting taxes down on the people, and the retirees especially. There's lots of retirees out here that might have a pension of $900 or $1,100 a month raising grandkids. And they're up against the wall, and for somebody to think that they can come back now and tax us, and I'll tell you, you worked at GM, I did too. They put pressure on us to get out of there and make these jobs available for the younger people. Now you're talking about people working 62 years old, 65, 70. Where's the job going to be for the young people? Go ahead now, let this guy talk.
You know what? Everybody paid taxes on their pensions until 1998. Did you know that? That was the first time we reduced them. I was there, and we voted to reduce all the pensions tax. So it's been really good for our pensioners, and I don't disagree. But it's not like this is a new tax that's coming back. It was here before. The economy's different now than it was. We don't have the money we had, which is okay. And please don't throw me in the pot of the state government. I am there representing you, and I'm not saying that there's plenty of money there. I'm just trying to say there's got to be a balance, and that's.
One other quick question. Are you going to be in lockstep voting with this governor as a party person, or are you going to have an objective view about these things?
Well, I've always had an objective view. I already told you I'm not supporting. That's the first one. We've only been there 2 months now, so give me a chance.
Well, you just state rep before.
Well, I was, but this new one, I probably am not going to be in
I
lockstep.
voted for you. I just hope I don't have buyer's remorse.
Less money there too now, isn't there?
Yes, sir.
Mike, there's only 3 states that have taxes on their pension, and Michigan's one of them. Don't they get the picture down there in Lansing that there's 47 other states saying we don't tax it. People are going to go to
That's the other way around.
They're going to go to Florida.
The other way around.
The weather's better, and they don't get their taxes don't get. Their pensions don't get taxed.
Was that?
I'll just,
Is that right, Jerry?
Well, there's only 3 states that don't.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So we're number 3. Yes, ma'am.
okay, I voted for you,
Thank you.
and I've never been a Republican, and so I disagree with him. When I came to the Tea Party meeting, I found it to be very informative. I found so much information here, and I think that everybody, instead of being a Republican or a Democrat, they should have to look at the issues and see what they're going to support. So I feel welcome here. I come every time, and I don't feel like I'm surrounded by Republicans, okay? So if I am, I am, and if I'm not, it's okay too.
Thank you, but I think if you remember, there's a number of issues that I didn't support that the Tea Party wanted, if you
Right.
remember some of those things. And we're all different. We all have different beliefs and ideas. And,
Senator, Gene would like to read a little passage from our beginning statement.
Sure, go ahead.
In response to, I believe, Mr. Spencer, Tea Party is a nonpartisan organization, sir. We have a little brochure. If you read it, it says we have core principles. Number 1, limited government. Number 2, fiscal responsibility. Number 3, personal responsibility. Number 4, rule of law. Number 5, national sovereignty. You can be a taxpayer, you can be a Democrat, a Republican, a communist, whatever you want to be. These are our core principles. Thank you.
And you don't even have to abide by them or defend.
I'm Drew, and I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. That's what I'm for right there.
Yay!
One fits the problem. That's to go back to him and our founders.
Hallelujah.
They were a group of men that went against England, the empire of the world. Just like Jesus did, he went against Rome. A unity of people can bring down any system. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Hi, Mike. Wayne Colburn.
Hi, Wayne, how are you?
Elmer Township. I'm a former employee, chief steward at local 831 at the Carroll Center. My concern is the future of the Carroll Center. I don't know if many of the people here in the community have a clear understanding of the changes that have occurred at the Carroll Center over the last 20 years. We've gone from treating or housing developmentally disabled individuals to an inpatient adult psychiatric facility to what now is essentially a forensic center. It houses, I'd say 90% of the people out there are people who have been found not guilty by reason of insanity. Many of these individuals have committed acts of, committed sexual acts against children. Many of those acts much more heinous than people would like to understand, and that's why they're housed there. About a decade ago, we had a patient walk away, and he almost murdered 3 of our Tuscola County residents. Now, I'm really concerned about future budget cuts because when these sexual predators are allowed out on the street, they're not required to register with the Michigan Sexual Offenders Registry because they were found not guilty by reason of insanity. I know of 2 individuals who are in Carroll. I watch one of them interact with children more often than I care to. I'm not permitted to say anything to anyone because I would be committing a felony to do so. I'm very concerned about future budget cuts impacting the hospital and letting these people free into the community. And what people don't understand is once these people are abandoned by their families and their friends, they tend to become familiar with where they are. And they move into the community where there are services provided. Carroll coming to mind. So I have a great concern as to whether we're going to see an increase of these individuals in the streets in my neighboring community. And I'd like to know if you're going to do whatever it takes to protect our community and keep the Carroll Center running safely.
Well, I'm aware that all that's going on. Unfortunately, most of the people in the county does not know the type of patients that there, but it hasn't been hid. Most all the patients have come from other parts of the state, those that exactly like you're talking about. I'm not sure that they're all sexually crimes. I'm not sure that they're all sexual crimes. But
Excuse me, not all of them, but there's a rather large population.
There are some. And in order to keep that center viable, there's only 2 centers left in the state for folks with mental problems, and they're really, really bad ones, both of them. So there was a decision made a number of years ago, And I supported to keep the Carroll Center open. And even though the patients are bad, excuse me, even though the patients are
The common word would be crippling and
we have the regional center, and so it employs a lot of people. I don't know if it's on the list or not of the employees, but you know that's been there since the late 1800s. It's been in the mainstay of Tuscola County for employment, and I have no plans of voting to decrease the budget on that. And I gave Ryan a note to let's check on it and see what that needs and see if it's adequate. I know the director very well. I've had long talks with her about what's going on there, and I don't see any place where they're going to reduce it. There's no way they can let those people out the street.
It happens all the time, Mike.
Where they get out.
It happens all the time. And psychiatrists say they're cured, they let them out. And if there's a budget crunch, they're going to get pushed. And on the last note for the folks here, you know, I don't know what people's opinions are on public employee compensation. I worked for 27 years at the Carroll Center. I've had over 1,000 physical assaults on my person until suffering a life-altering cervical spine injury after 27 years of service. At the pinnacle of my career, I made $38,000. To do that, you start cutting people's salaries, safety out there is going to be affected. These are good people that work out there, but you know what? You impact them psychologically, and errors are going to happen, things are going to go bad, somebody's going to get hurt. We've already had 3 residents that have almost died as a result of the negligence on the part of the administration out there. If it hadn't been for one of my members going beyond the call of duty to bring this to the attention of the public, it wouldn't have been addressed the way it was. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know the rules are different out there, and I don't agree with all of them either. But sometimes when you're dealing with those types of people, the rules are different than what we would normally have to deal with. And as far as cutting your pay, no one's ever been talked about cutting pay of the hourly employees. And the governor has promised he's going to negotiate with them, and he's going to do it properly and the right way, and we'll see where that goes. But I don't see I don't know that he's not going to negotiate salaries down. I don't know that, but it's going to be negotiated in the proper way.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Welcome back to Vassar, Mike.
Thank you.
I'd like to know where we're going to go with the medical marijuana. And a little background on my question. I used to transport criminal aliens, thousands of them. 90% of them in our criminal justice system.
Speak up a bit.
Mike's not working.
Okay. 90% of the criminal aliens that I dealt with are in our justice system for drug-related problems, smuggling, dealing, and using. One thing I noticed in dealing with them, because I talked to a lot of them, we spent a lot of time in the year, they all started out smoking a simple little joint. They got up and progressed up. Right now, I'm working at a drug and alcohol center in Bridgeport doing treatments for teenagers. They all started out with a simple little joint. And they've gone up to heroin, crack, K2, everything. And I get a chance to talk to them, and I asked them, what did it cost for that simple little joint? They all say, oh, nothing, as you used to give somebody pay your life for that. Well, they don't understand this. It's coming across the border, and I'm sure everybody's heard about the murders going on down on the border. It's over that simple little joint. We now have an influx of it being sold illegally in the state of Michigan. I want to know when it's going to be stopped.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be stopped because the people of Michigan passed a resolution 2 years ago that it is legal to have medical marijuana in the state of Michigan. was so, how do I say, there was no rules set up for it. There was nothing. It was wide open. It was like anybody that wanted to grow marijuana in their backyard almost could do it. So the question is now, how do we regulate it? Because the people of the state of Michigan has already decided that it's legal and anybody can do it. So how do we as state legislators go about working out the problems? And we're trying to set up some, there's a bill in motion right now to require, and I can't remember now what all they required, but there is legislation introduced to try to regulate the process.
Can that be done by legislation, Mike?
It can be regulated. We cannot stop.
Wasn't that a constitutional move? Or?
Yes, it was. It was a constitutional.
So you need concurrent two-thirds votes of both houses, don't you?
No, well, I think we can regulate it. No, we can't get rid of it. We cannot get rid of it. Without another ballot initiative. Or a two-thirds vote of the House and the Senate. Unfortunately, it passed kind of overwhelmingly.
No.
Probably not. But it happened. It happened. I know.
They have it all the time.
I know. I met with the county commissioners the other day, and that was foremost on their mind. But right now, we have no ability to regulate it unless some legislation gets passed and they're worked on.
They arrest people and they go back and grow it again and they open a factory like deal and they go back and arrest them and they don't take them to court.
It's, for those of you that are against marijuana, it's a tough issue. For those of you that believe in what happened, it's what the people voted for. No, I don't want to do that. I'm with you, man, okay?
No. Mike, I got a question.
Okay, yes, sir.